begin today by tackling a question on many people's minds. Is it still a good time to buy real estate? You know, with interest rates shifting, it's easy to feel uncertain, but investors are still making strategic moves. So joining us is Shelby Matson. She's top producing real estate professional and an investor. She's here to share steps on how you can make confident decisions even when rates are high. Great to have you here, Shelby.
Thank you for having me back.
Okay, I cannot wait to hear the advice that you have in this space in particular. Okay, so because a lot of people, let's face it, we're feeling stuck right now, waiting obviously for the market to shift or change, but why are investors though at this time still buying?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of leverage right now if you're an investor or even a buyer. I think the uncertainty of how interest rates have increased and people are feeling a little bit stuck, especially if they were afforded the opportunity to lock in a 3% interest rate. The question really is, how can I go from 3% to a 6% home and still feel like I'm growing inside of my home and not shrinking it?
Yes.
So from an investor's perspective, it's really important to hone in on leverage. And what that means is sellers are willing to work with a buyer right now. If they're selling in this market, they really need to relocate for whatever reason, whether it's retirement, job, babies, they're growing out of their home. There's a strong reason. And so an investor takes an opportunity to really ask the seller if they can afford helping with a buy down, with their interest rate, or even leveraging some repairs, whatever that looks like. You could even ask for the price point to even be lowered.
Okay, all right, so there's opportunity.
Tons.
Within that space. All right, so many buyers though, they're saying that they can't afford today's interest rates, right? So what do you say to that?
I say lead with information instead of fear.
Okay.
There's a lot of fear right now, and I completely understand and appreciate it. It is scary. How can I possibly afford a home right now?
Yeah.
But the only way you're going to know is if you partner with a real estate professional and a lender, somebody that can develop a plan, really give you the numbers. The numbers don't lie. And I think that's what's important to hone in on and really just lean into somebody that is in the profession and can guide you without any pressure.
Okay, all right, so like you're saying, you don't know until you try. Right?
Absolutely.
And you do need that information. So instead of just sitting on the fence and twiddling your thumbs and going, nope, not the right time, not the right time.
Right.
Well, go gather info.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So what kind of options are available out there, though, for those who might be interested?
For sure. There are so many options. There's something that, you know, I'm not a lender. I don't want to overstep.
Yeah.
That's not my scope. But there are affordability options as far as a 2-1 buy down, where the seller actually pays your closing costs. They pay for your buy down of your interest rate. So your first and second year are 1% lower than where we're at today and what you get locked in at.
Okay.
It's not a moving target. And so you're locked in. Worst case scenario, you'll know what that looks like in 3 years. And it really helps a lot of people kind of breathe through the process and knowing that they're going to maybe get a bonus at work in the next couple of years that's going to either afford that or no penalty for refinancing prior to.
Okay. All right. So, and I mentioned you're not only a realtor, though, but you're also an investor yourself. So have you personally bought in this market?
I have, actually.
Okay.
Scary. It's a very real emotion. My husband and I, we do have long-term investments, but we just recently closed on our first short-term rental about 20 days ago.
Oh, so recent.
Very recent.
Okay.
Yes. I think it's important as a real estate agent to you know, really emulate that I am walking the walk as well.
Yeah.
I do feel the fear. I do understand, but knowing exactly what to anticipate and expect through the process and making sure that you're not focused on the interest rate, but your monthly payment and is it doable and feasible? That's really where you need to be, and that's where professionals and a team can come in and help.
Okay. All right. And I mean, not only a professional, but like you said, you're also speaking from your own personal experience, very recent experience as well.
Very recent.
So what advice do you have, though, for those watching who might still be sitting on the sidelines?
I think it's important for you to reach out to somebody that you either know, myself, somebody in the real estate profession that actually understands the market and partners with local lenders that can help build a plan that really measures into what they need to do and what they can do.
Okay.
And even if it's not today, knowing that there's a plan and there's a team behind them to help them get to that next step in the first process, it's really what it's all about. Don't lead with fear.
Yeah.
Lead with insight and information.
Yeah. I think you really hit the nail on the head when you were saying you don't know until you get the info,
That's right.
So take that first step, like you said, put the fear aside, take that first step, get the numbers, get the information, and then that way you know how to proceed forward.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
brilliant. Okay, Shelby, how do they find you?
I can be found at shelby.matson@idaholife.com.
Wonderful. Shelby, thank you so much. And congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
On your purchase.
It's so exciting.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is exciting.
So exciting.
Right?
Yes.
Investing in real estate, a lot of emotions. Excitement certainly is one of them.
Big.
So, yes. All right. Thank you. Everyone else, stick around because, maybe you're buying or investing, but perhaps maybe not. Maybe what you want to do is freshen up your home as well. We've got you covered either way. That's coming up next. All the details on the IBL Remodeling and Design Show right here on Idaho Today.